Hello everyone, and welcome to Fictional Vortex. So we are back with an interesting movie on what if Naruto was a hybrid of dinosaurs. But before we start, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy my content. Let's start the story. Chapter 1. The S-Rank Mission. In the wake of Naruto's training with Jiraiya, the recent dinosaur attacks, the betrayal of Shimura Danzo, the truth behind Uchiha Itachi, and potential gang wars, Konoha had given a S-rank mission to 4 shinobis. A seasoned Anbu, known for her exceptional leaf-style kenjutsu, a woman with long purple hair and at 21 years of age. Azuki Yugao. The second was a Junin now turned Anbu, one specialized in genjutsu, and former sensei of Team 8. Yuhi Kurenai. The third was a former captured sound ninja now turned leaf shinobi due to the lack of options for her. Given a second chance, she was going to make sure it was put to good use and assist Konoha for her own sake, and for the greater good. Chiyuya. And finally the last person on the team. A former citizen of Kurigakure, turned refugee and now a fresh Anbu wielding the Sharingan of Uchiha Makoto in one eye. At 17, he's the youngest member of the Kaseki clan, a clan whose fighting companions are of an ancient force, the dinosaurs. Kaseki Kohaku. They had just been dismissed by the 5th Hokage, Senju Tsunade. They were still inside the tower as they began to discuss their mission among themselves. So what is our first move? Yugao asked Chiyuya. We go to the land of rice fields. We pick up the trail there. Chiyuya said. Once we get there, Kurenai asked. We blend in there, find out if anyone there knows about who sent the 3 Allosaurus. And find out what is the situation between gangs now that Gato is dead. And maybe find a way to retrieve Itachi. Kohaku said. Whoa, Gato, as in the owner of Gato's transport? Chiyuya asked as she put her Konoha headband. Yeah, him. Well crap, with him dead, everyone else will want the top spot, thus a gang war and Konoha's trading will get affected. Yeah we know, Kurenai said. That's why we're heading to the land of rice fields as well. Everyone, get what you need and assemble at the main gate in 1 hour. Yugao said. And no shinobi attire, no vest, no headband. We do this undercover. Get what I need. Yeah, I don't have anything now that I'm with you all. Chiyuya said pointing at herself. Yugao turned her head to Kohaku, motioning him to do something. Sighing, Kohaku gave Chiyuya sufficient money and said. Get what you need and quick. Kohaku said to her and left the 3 women to fetch his gear. Then 3 ladies parted as well. An hour passed, and soon the party assembled. Kohaku was in his black hoodie, red t-shirt, dark gray pants and black sandals. Kurenai was in her regular outfit minus her headband. Chiyuya too was in her regular outfit without her purple rope belt. Yugao was wearing her Anbu pants and gray t-shirt and black sandals. Each had their own bag to carry. All right, we ready? Yugao asked everyone and they nodded. Wait, are you going to bring any dinosaurs with us, Kohaku-san? She asked the Kaseki. He shook his head. We don't really need them, I think. But in case, there's the summoning jutsu. He said. Okay, let's move. She declared and the 4 leapt onto the trees and jumping from tree to tree, setting off in their S-rank mission. Halfway in their journey, Kurenai decided to voice her question. Once we get there, how do we proceed? She asked as she leapt from a tree branch. Chiyuya. Yugao asked the former sound ninja. Listen, you guys just want me to take you to the land of rice fields because I know the place. But the planning was not supposed to be on me. Chiyuya said. Wait, so we don't have a proper plan? Kurenai asked in an alarmed tone. I say we split up. Kohaku suggested making a leap from a tree. We get to a town, I ask around about Uchiha Itachi. Chiyuya. You should know about the gang that suicide bomber came from. You should look into if that gang knows about any news about dinosaurs. That leaves the trail on the counterfeit cigarettes. Then we meet back. Kurenai and I will handle that. Yugao confirmed. Alright, that's our plan. Kurenai asked. I'm going to need more than just what I know if I'm going to help. Chiyuya said as she leapt from a branch. Kohaku took a leap from a branch and twisted his body around, taking a book from his bag. Catch, quickly, he called to her and tossed the book. Whoa fu, Chiyuya caught the book. Think of it as a quick guide. Kohaku said, making another jump. Chiyuya in the midair flipped through the pages. The numerous species of dinosaurs were revealed to her. Tyrannosaurus rex, Triceratops, raptors, Spinosaurus and many more the Kaseki clan currently have. Holy shit, that's a lot of dinosaurs, Chiyuya said through her breath, amazed by the pictures of ancient might. Despite it only being in a book. Alright, let's pick up the pace, Yuga ordered, and everyone continued to jump through the trees. At last, they were at the edge of the land of rice fields. They all stopped and landed on a tree that was at the edge of a slope. Their eyes fixed on the numerous rice fields scattered across. That's the land of rice fields, where the village hidden in the sound lurks, Chiyuya said. Kohaku removed the bandages that wrapped half of his face. His left eye opened, showing the 3 Tomo Sharingan. Huh, the Uchiha eye, Chiyuya said, seeing Kohaku face. And we will do our best not to show it too much. We're undercover. Kohaku put on an eye patch. Let's get to the nearest town, Kurenai said. The party head out, leaping off from the tree. They climbed down to the rice fields. Trekking down the path, they've reached a post town. It looked quite uncomfortable. Buildings appeared in suggestive manners and the people were not the most welcoming at all. Well, this is a hospitable place, Kurenai said, eyeing around the place. Kohaku rubbed his hands together. The perfect environment. Alright, you guys better not make a scene or else everyone is going to be on our asses, Chiyuya said to them. We do what we can, and meet back here in an hour. And with that, everyone split up. Kohaku trudged his way to the nearest bar, Enteri. Inside, the customers there mainly consisted on tattooed thugs, and ladies dressed in appealing style. He slowly got to the counter seats as the customers kept their eyes on him. He took his seat, and the lady bartender went up to him. What can I get you, one-eyed sir? She asked in a sweet and low voice. Cola, he answered, coming right up. She went to prepare his drink. As he waited, Kohaku began scanning around the bar. Seeing the thugs in the bar tending to themselves, he was prepared for anything. Here you go. She placed a glass of cola on the counter. Hey, while we're at it, perhaps you could help me out with something, Kohaku said. The lady bartender smirked a bit. Perhaps, if I were to have a form of motivation, sweetie. Kohaku had a stoic face. He placed a hand in his jacket and slowly said, I'm looking for someone who can help me contact a mercenary group, the Akatsuki. You help me, and I'll help you. How do you intend to help me? Her face soon turned somewhat serious. You help me first and you'll find out. His face remained stoic and intact, not willing to budge in this negotiation. The lady bartender had a slight scowl at first, but she gave in. She sighed. I don't know what group you're talking about. But there's this boss man. He came here rather recently. His name is Daichi Akio. He has some thugs under his command like a gang. Word is that he knows high-tier criminals as well for whatever reasons. And that he was Iwa Chunin too. Kohaku narrowed his eyes a bit. Where can I find him? She discreetly pointed at the back of the bar. Kohaku pulled out his hand from his jacket. Finishing his cola, he dropped something in the glass. Take it and get out this dump, Kohaku said, taking a few bills to pay for the cola as well. The lady bartender gasped when she saw a small gold piece in the glass. The Kaseki made his way to the back of the bar. At a round table there he was, Daichi Akio. The same mob boss in a white suit who he saw at the hotel when he and Yuga was labeled missing nins. The mob boss was seated in between 2 henchmen in black suits. Daichi Akio, Kohaku politely asked. His 2 henchmen immediately stood up. Who the hell are you? One asked aggressively. I am seeking your help, Daichi Akio. And I should give a crap because who are you to just come up here and talk to me? Akio said to him rudely. The other customers noticing were starting to take their leave. Because otherwise I could give you a free makeover of that cheap white suit of yours. Kohaku threatened him. One henchman growled. You bastard. You really think? Before he could finish, Kohaku delivered a strike to his throat, and a punch to the face and a kick to the gut, and the henchman was out for the count. Kohaku quickly gave a spinning kick on the other thug, knocking him out quick. Before Akio could react, Kohaku pounced on him hard, legs pinning him down. I did ask nicely, but now it's come to this. The Kaseki let a low rumbling growl that went right through Akio. You are a dead man. When I get out of... Akio's threat was cut short when Kohaku decided to reveal his left eye to give Akio something else to be scared of. The Sharingan. You're the copy ninja. I want Uchiha Itachi of the Akatsuki. How do I contact the organization? Kohaku snarled at him. Itachi, that S-rank ninja, the Akatsuki. Akio stammered. Where is he? Kohaku growled. Don't know. I swear. Who would know? Kohaku grabbed his collar and lifted him up. Fear was overwhelming Akio by the sight of the Sharingan. Give me a name or I will make sure you will know what getting swallowed whole feels like. Zange. Who is he? He's a bounty exchange master. He runs a bounty station in the Land of Fire. My boys dropped of bodies at that disposal center for the bounty. My boys said that they saw an Akatsuki member, Kakuzu. That's his name. They said he was dropping of another body for money as well. That's it. That's all I know. I swear. If you're lying, I'll be back for you. Kohaku hissed before giving a final headbutt knocking him out. Kohaku then stood back, seeing the mess he made. Had to show the Sharingan. Well crap. Well I hope the others have it easier than me. He thought. Chiyuya was not having an easy time. All by herself, she had to find any gang member that fits the mo of the suicide bomber. Walking down the streets, Chiyuya was being careful of her surroundings as she read the Kaseki clan dinosaur guidebook, or at least trying her best to read the names of the species. SP Spino, Spinosaurus. What? Stego, Stegosaur. What the hell? Tyrannosaurus. Okay. Parasaura. You know what? Fuck this shit. Chiyuya closed the book and put it in her bag. An idea hit her. She stopped in her tracks, making her to the side of the streets. She set her bag down and took out her flute. Chiyuya took her cap off her head and set it down on the ground facing up. She started to play a melody, with her cap on the ground waiting to be fed with some donations from any passerby. As she played her flute, she paid attention to the people around to see if anyone fit Himo of the gang the suicide bomber belonged to. She continued to scan around as the people moved through the streets. So far no one even bothered to give some change to Chiyuya for her performance in the flute. Not that she was bothered by it either. To her left however, she saw someone coming, someone she'd recognized. Kaseki Kohaku. He noticed her playing the flute, and he went up to her. She continued to play the flute, but her eyes showed confusion as to why Kohaku was making his way towards her. He stood in front of her. Apart from the flute melody, things were silent between them. Kohaku reached into his pocket. He took out something and dropped it into the cap. Chiyuya saw it what was, a 1 yen coin, the smallest denomination in currency. Kohaku made a small smirk as he saw Chiyuya's unamused face. She still played the flute, with both middle fingers upright and pointed straight at him. You find anything yet? He chuckled. Chiyuya shook her head, still playing the flute. And as soon as she said, her eyes were soon on someone behind him whom was walking down the streets. Someone, a man with a straw hat, in a kimono, and Chiyuya could see a mark she'd recognized. A tattoo on the chest. It fit the description as the bomber that attacked the village with Allosaurus. Chiyuya applied chakra into the flute this time, casting her genjutsu onto him quickly before he tried anything. Hope you've enjoyed this chapter, my readers. Thank you for reading. And I hope to see you in the next chapter. Double-crested lizard. Hello Dinosaur Naruto fans, back with another chapter. With the chapter title you can probably guess what this one is going to about. Please follow and review. Enjoy. Chapter 2. Double-crested lizard. Mateki. Mugen Onsa. Chiyuya using her flute casted her genjutsu, focused on the man in the straw hat. Soon, he was quickly immobilized. Seeing the direction of where her eyes were set, Kohaku turned around to see the man as well. Same description as the dead guy from before. Kohaku whispered to her. Chiyuya played one last chord before pulling the flute away from her mouth. He's not going anywhere now. She said to him. Yeah maybe, but this could very well be a dinosaur bomb right in the middle of the street here. Kohaku said, having a worried face and eyes shifting left and right. Chiyuya's face quickly turned a little pale. Oh shit, Chiyuya gasped. The man remained immobilized, And any passerby were ignoring him out of apathy. Just kill him and prevent any shit he's trying to pull, she suggested. Are you insane, Tayuya? Kohaku hissed somewhat harshly. Kill a random dude right in public. What was that about not making a scene? Tayuya bit her lip hearing him. Besides, we need him alive for answers. Kohaku added. Well, fuck, now what? He's right in the middle of the path with everyone to see. We don't even know if this guy's bomber or not, Tayuya said in a hushed voice. Before they could come up with something, someone was walking in a drunken manner right towards the immobilized bomber. Bumping into the immobilized Straw Hat Man, the drunkard was ticked. Hey you, watch where you're going, you son of a bitch. The drunkard was about to throw a hard punch across the Straw Hat Man's face. Hey you, Kohaku yelled. You leave my friend alone. Kohaku pointed at the drunkard, confronting him. Shit. Tayuya quickly picked up her hat and caught up with Kohaku. The drunkard took his attention on Kohaku now. Oh, you want a piece of me, little boy? The drunkard slurred in his speech. Get lost, you turd, Tayuya said, catching on with Kohaku's plan. This guy's with us. She pointed at the Straw Hat Man who was still frozen in place. So beat it. You're asking for it. The drunkard raised a fist and was about to ram it into Kohaku. The Kaseki simply caught the fist and smashed it back into the drunkard's own face. Take a nap, Kohaku told him as the drunkard fell right on his back and too drunk to get up. Say, friend, how about we get out of this town, huh? You look like you could do with a rest. Kohaku took the bomber's arm and over his shoulder. Yeah, friend, you've got to go. Tayuya took the other arm and over her own shoulder. Together they brought the man out of the post town, playing the part of the Straw Hat Man's friends. Well, this is a stupid way of moving a bomb out of a town, Tayuya said. Whatever, I'll take it, Kohaku replied. An hour is almost up. We just got to bring this guy back to the meeting spot. Eventually they got back to the cliff edge, the meeting spot. Tayuya and Kohaku set him down on the ground. Now what? She asked the Kaseki. We wait for Kurenai and Yugao-san. Kohaku said. Wait for what? I don't want to just sit here while we got bomb with us. Even if he's under a genjutsu. Tayuya pointed at the still frozen Straw Hat Man. Fine. Kohaku stood in front of the Straw Hat Man. Kohaku took the hat off the man's head. He had a buzz cut and loose kimono show. The tattoo on the left side of the man's chest. His eyes looked like it was empty, hollow, lacking of focus. Tayuya and Kohaku had cautious eyes on the seals on the rest of the chest. Shit, this guy's really got seals on him. So what do you intend to do? Tayuya asked. Hopefully something productive, Kohaku said. He placed his hands in a ram seal and made a tap on the bomber's forehead. Release. The fuck? You wake him up, he's going to let dinosaurs out of his body. Tayuya gripped Kohaku's shoulder. We'll just make sure it doesn't come to that. Stop him from making a hand seal. Kohaku replied to her. The Straw Hat Man groaned, blinking groggily. Where am? The man was cut short of his speech when a foot pressed down on his hand. Time to talk. Kohaku standing above him, with one foot on the hand. Who sent you here? He demanded with a low voice. What the F? Kohaku cut him off when he pressed his hand down harder. Who sent you here? I don't know what you're talking about. The man cried. Let me go. Kohaku got his foot on the hand. He picked the man up by the collar of the kimono. Kanahagakure was attacked by a suicide bomber. The seals on said bomber released animals that attacked the village. And you have the exact apparels as the suicide bomber, same clothes and tattoo, so you're going to tell me who you're working for? Kohaku fiercely said. I don't know what you're talking about. I swear. The man whimpered. Where am I? What is happening? What? Tayuya raised an eyebrow, seeing the fear and confusion the man had on his face. Answer the question. Who are you working for? Kohaku growled at his face. Who's threatening Konoha? I'm just a nobody. I don't know anything about Kanahagakure. All I can remember was I was at work, that's it, I swear. I need to get home. Just let me go, please. Tell me who you're working for now, before this gets really ugly. Kohaku demanded. I work for a corporation. It's called Ingen, the M. And choked on his words and began gagging and coughing. Kohaku was getting tired of this. Oh, for crying out loud, I'm barely touching you and you Now did the Kaseki notice the foaming on the side of his mouth. Kohaku quickly let go of him, and jumped back. Chiyuya quickly backed away as well. The man dropped onto the ground and started convulsing. Kohaku, the seals. Chiyuya pointed at the man's chest, whose seals were started to glow. Damn it, he didn't need a hand seal. He was a time bomb. She shouted. Puffs of smoke surrounded the now dead man, and out of the smoke came 4 creatures. They were at Chiyuya's height. They had a mix of green and red on their bodies. They each stood on 2 clawed feet and they each had clawed hands. On their heads they have 2 crests. They all made a loud rattling noise. A frightening hiss, and out came large frills around their faces. Dilophosaurus. Ah hell. Kohaku backed away. The 4 Dilophosaurus spread and dashed into the forest. Kohaku dropped his bag, and with Chiyuya they stood back to back. Fuck, what dinosaurs are they? Chiyuya asked frantically as she held her flute tight. I think they are Dilophosaurus. Kohaku quietly said, Taken. G out the eye patch to reveal his Sharingan. But, I don't know. They don't look natural. The fuck you mean they don't look natural? Shish. Kohaku scanned across the shrubs. Suddenly something came towards him. A thick goo substance, black and toxic. The world seemed to slow down as Kohaku saw the poison spit heading his. With the power of Uchiha Makoto's Sharingan, he saw the spit coming. It was his first time seeing the Sharingan in action firsthand. Bending his body sideways, he dodged the spit. The Sharingan kept track of the venomous projectile as it zipped through the air. Only for it to land right at the back of Chiyuya's head. Aw fuck. What is this shit? Chiyuya shouted and touched the venom on her hair. God. This dino spit. Get down. Kohaku yelled to her. Shish. He didn't need to be told twice, seeing 1 Dilophosaurus dashing out of the forest and coming for them. With Chiyuya getting into a crouch, Kohaku quickly made his hand seals. Sweden. Subin. A water whip formed in his hand. Swinging his hand, the whip's end wrapped itself around the Dilophosaurus's neck. With a hard yank, Kohaku forced the carnivore to fall on its face. Before the Dilophosaurus could get on its feet again, Chiyuya pulled out a kunai and stabbed the neck of the animal several times, and the Dilophosaurus stopped moving. Now Chiyuya getting back upright, she said to him, Where are the others? She looked around her. Kohaku back to back with her got on guard as well. Okay, we know they spit poison first before striking, so, before the Kaseki could finish his sentence, the next poisonous spit came straight for them. With the Sharingan he was able to dodge the spit, tilting his head to avoid to spit. There. Kohaku shouted and threw several shurikens in the direction. The sounds of painful hooting was then heard. Kohaku wanted to head over there to see the confirmation of the kill, but he would not desert Chiyuya. 2 more of them around. Kohaku said. Chiyuya still had the poison in her hair. Fuck, this is starting to burn. Chiyuya whipped out a bottle of water from her bag, pouring the water on her hair and hand. Fuck, this hurts. The burning sensation soon started to reduce. Kohaku had his right eye closed, trying to use his Sharingan only, although he doubted it was actually going to help. A 3rd Dilophosaurus jumped out the vegetation to show itself, giving a loud hiss, and its frill fanned out. It got its hands in a horse seal. It jumped up and opened its mouth, and a gas of poison came out of its mouth. Kohaku quickly made another set of hand seals. Tiger, snake, rat, snake, tiger. Sweden. Sujin Heki. Kohaku spewed out a wall of water, quickly wetting the poison gas, preventing it from entering anyone's lungs. He continued his wall of water, forcing the Dilophosaurus back, sending it slamming right into a tree. Chiyuya was not having a worse outcome though. Before she could use her flute, the final Dilophosaurus leapt out quick and deadly, pinning Chiyuya down. Letting out a cry, Chiyuya's eyes showed anger and fear. As the 4th Dilophosaurus was to clamp its jaws on her face, Chiyuya got her flute in front of her face to protect herself. The Dilophosaurus bit down on the flute. Its feet were pressing down on her chest and stomach hard. Ah, fuck. Get it off me, she shouted, trying to push the theropod back. Get it off. Suddenly something quick went right across the neck of the dinosaur. The neck instantly detached itself from the Dilophosaurus' body. Its eyes rolled back as it plopped to the ground, as did the rest of the body, with blood spurting all over. Chiyuya, seeing the dead dinosaur, noticed a hand offering to pull her up on her feet. She looked up to see who it was. Azuki Yugao. wielding her sword which had just decapitated the Dilophosaurus. Chiyuya took her hand and Yugao pulled her up. Shit, thanks. Kohaku went into the forest to find the Dilophosaurus which he had struck shurikens with. Only to see Kurenai standing above it. The Dilophosaurus had a gash in its neck, and Kurenai had a bloodied kunai in her hand. Well, you two found something big already, huh? Kurenai said to Kohaku. The Kaseki didn't answer the Rito. Raikal and went up to the dead Dilophosaurus. With Kurenai standing beside him, examined the dinosaur. Do you know what this is? She asked him. It's a Dilophosaurus, but that's not how it natural look like. Care to explain? She asked. The animal is not supposed to be having a frill for one thing. Kohaku held the frill from the Dilophosaurus. And unless this is a juvenile, its full-grown size is twice as big as this. Wait, so you're saying this thing is supposed to be bigger? I'm saying that something is wrong with the dinosaur. It's like it's been altered, maybe genetically. How, I have no idea. Kohaku turned to see the Dilophosaurus that he had hit with his water wall. Just when Yugao was about to bring her sword to the last living carnivore. Kohaku moved with fluid speed, standing in front of her to stop her. Yugao-san, no, he said to her. What? Why? Yugao pointed the sword away. We need it alive so we can know more about it. Kohaku explained. What's to know? It's a dinosaur that needs to be wasted before it kills someone. Chiyuya said to them. Or it could be an animal that needs to be understood properly so we can know what we're facing up against. Kohaku gave his argument. Those things spat burning shit at me. I think that's enough we need to know. Chiyuya insisted. Or we could know more about what this guy is about and how he's made this way. Kohaku said. So what do you suggest then, huh? Take it back, have it contained and figure out more of it. Kohaku. We can't afford to spend time on bringing this Dilophosaurus all the way back to the village. Kurenai said as she stepped up to them. I never said we'll be bringing it back. Kohaku got to a crouch, taking a scroll out from his bag, laying out the paper of the scroll in front of the downed Dilophosaurus. Revealing a formula on the paper. Making several hand seals, he put a hand on the paper and the theropod turned into smoke and was sealed into the scroll. Kohaku then made a cross seal and another Kohaku appeared. I will bring it back. The Kohaku clone said. The clone then took the scroll and took to the trees, returning to the village and to the Kaseki compound. All right, now that's taken care of. Where's the bomber? Yugao asked. Everyone went back to where he was, laying at the cliff and dead as doornail. Well, fuck, now what? Chiyuya groaned. Did he say anything before he died? Kurenai asked Kohaku and Chiyuya. Yeah, he did, but I don't know what it means. What is it? Yugao asked. Kohaku then spoke up. He said something, some corporation. What corporation? He said it's called. Kohaku paused for a moment. Ingen. Hope you've enjoyed this chapter and I hope to see you in the next one. Ironic Trust. Hello folks, thank you for waiting. This chapter doesn't have that much action, but more like a slight tension between the characters. If you have seen the Naruto anime, you could follow one particular plot point. Please review, they are my fuel. Enjoy. Chapter 3. Ironic Trust. Ingen. Yugao asked. A company? Yeah, that's what the bomber said. Kohaku said. Before he died, that's where he said he was working at. Thinking further, Kohaku added. He said he didn't know anything. That he was at work at this Ingen and he couldn't remember anything else. And you believe him? Kurenai asked skeptically. It's all that we have to go on. Chiyuya then said. Plus he looked really scared shitless when we asked him. So what are you suggesting then, Kohaku? Chiyuya. Kurenai said. Maybe a victim. Kohaku gave his deduction. The only LEAD we have now is this Ingen Corporation. And what did you and Yugao-san find? Well, to be honest, we couldn't find any leads. Kurenai admitted. We couldn't find any place that would store any of the counterfeit cigarettes. Or anything that could help us get closer in this gang war business. Yugao then stood next to Kohaku's left, and asked him, any leads on our lost Uchiha? Kohaku turned, to see her with his Sharingan looking into her. 1. I've talked to supposed mob boss, a Chunin from Iowa. He said he knows a contact. Zange, a bounty exchange master stationed in the Land of Fire bounty station. He said one of his henchmen encountered another Akatsuki member. The Kaseki explained. Who? Kakuzu. Yugao then began thinking. Kakuzu. Think I've seen a name like that in the bingo book. He was from Takigakure, an S-rank missing nin. She recalled. Guess we'll have to start there. Unless any of you know where Ingen is. Kurenai asked all of them, in which they all shook their heads. The bounty station is far west of here, on the other end of the border. Yugao said. Ready to go. They all had their packs ready and set out. Back in Konoha, at Ichiraku Ramen, Team 8 was having their lunch. Inuzuka Kiba, Aburame Shino, and Hyuga Hinata. And with them was their new team leader, Kaseki Kichiro. Their sensei was seated in between Kiba and Hinata, and Shino was seated next to Kiba. Each of them had a bowl of ramen. So guys, here's the plan for today. We're not getting a mission today, instead we're heading to my place, so I can have a personal evaluation on you guys, alright? Kichiro said his plan to them. Alright, let's do it. Kiba said as he started on his bowl of ramen. And after that, perhaps we can have a tour around. Kichiro gestured them to bunch up a little closer together. He then whispered to them, what dinosaurs have you guys seen? Only the plant-eating dinosaurs once in my life, I think that's about it. Kiba said. Akamaru was seated on his head. Yeah, I think that's about the same with me, Kichiro-sensei. Hinata added. Shino nodded as well. Well, since you're all genins, you are qualified to see the carnivores, after we have our quick test. How about that? Kichiro suggested. Hi. They all agreed. After their lunch, Team 8 made their way to the Kaseki compound. You guys remember this place? The Kaseki Junin asked. Yes, when we had our school trip back in the academy. Shino answered with his calm voice. Ah, when you all thought that dinosaurs being our fighting companions was complete fakery. Chu-san told me. Kichiro smirked at them. Kiba stammered a bit. Ah, no, that's not true, sensei. Ah, come on, you're making it way too obvious. Kichiro teased them, turning to Hinata, seeing her slight embarrassed face. Ha, look at you. Kichiro teased the girl, playfully knocking her on the head. Your face says it all, hee. Hinata squirmed in her embarrassment. Alright, anyway, let's move on. Kichiro said, and they continued down the path, making their to the herbivore field. Before he could reach the field, however, he sensed someone coming, from the air. Guys, hang on, Kichiro said. Turning around, he looked up. What is it, Kichiro-sensei? Hinata asked. In the air, Kohaku was gliding down to them with the clan jutsu. Tero Tsubasa no Jutsu. Kohaku. Kichiro squinted his eyes. Kohaku-kun, Hinata said, hearing the name of Naruto's first friend. Kaseki Kohaku had chakra-shaped as pterosaur wings at his arms, gliding to Kichiro. Landing with a roll, Team 8 took in the CGHT of the youngest member of the Kaseki clan. His black hoodie, red t-shirt and dark gray pants. The clone had his left eye closed to conceal the Sharingan. Kohaku, you're back, Kichiro asked. I'm a clone. Sorry I can't introduce myself, Team 8, but I don't have much time. Kohaku answered. He took the scroll from his back pouch and gave it to him. Take this to an enclosure quick, we have a dinosaur in there. And something's wrong with it. Species? Kichiro asked as he took the scroll. Dilophosaurus. But it's altered, unnatural, we have to keep it contained. Kohaku answered, his left eye still closed. My team found it when there was another suicide bomber out there, we have a lead. I need to look up on a corporation named Ingen. Alright, I will. Anything else you find? Kichiro asked, taking a more professional tone now. Yeah, we have a person of interest. Zange, a bounty exchange master from the bounty station in the Land of Fire. We're following up on the case. I would ha. They written a report scroll. Like I said, I didn't have tea. The clone dispelled in smoke before he could finish his sentence. Ah crap, Kichiro sighed. Seeing the scroll in his hand one more time, he turned to the genins, who appeared somewhat confused by the scene. Alright, looks like you three get to see your first carnivore. Let's go. Kichiro picked up the pace, towards the right and to the carnivore section. What is going on, sensei? Kiba asked. You guys know about the attack at the Dango shop, right? This is what Kohaku and his team is investigating, and it involves dinosaurs. We got to hurry, follow me. Kichiro kicked off into a run, and the genins followed him. Out of Konoha, Kohaku, Kurenai, Tayuya and Yugao were leaping through the trees. The sun was starting to set, and they were not anywhere near the bounty station. We are going to call a day, right? Chiyuya asked, slacking at the back. Yeah, I say we should. Yugao said. They all ceased their travel in the trees. And where do we go? Kurenai asked. Kohaku was silent as they try a decision. Instead he was running his thumb on the amber of the necklace that was hanging out of his t-shirt. There's a town up west of here. Yugao said. We can find a place to rest there. Yeah, and where would we stay? Kohaku finally spoke up. You finally spoke after being silent through the long trip. Kurenai added. Is that an issue? Not exactly, she said in a calm voice, then she sighed. Okay, look, I've been keeping this concern of mine silent for this long, but I need to voice it out now, Kurenai said in a slight stern manner. Yugao and Chiyuya was a little confused by Kurenai. Look, I want to trust you, Kohaku. The Junin stepped up to face him. But unfortunately I do not know you that very well. And when I'm sorry I have to say this. But so far in this short time period you and your decisions are just too questionable for me. Kurenai explained herself. Elaborate please. Kohaku calmly said. Kurenai then said. Firstly, it's regarding Chiyuya. What me? The redhead pointed at herself. Don't think that I'm not aware that you started this idea about having a sound nin joining our shinobi force, right off the bat. Kurenai kept her eyes trained on Kohaku. Hey, maybe you should open your eyes, lady, I'm trying to fucking help here. And if I don't, they're just going to put me through this interrogation shit. I don't have anywhere left to go, so I'm just making the best of this now. Chiyuya said. Secondly, that dinosaur you decided to bring back to the village. Kurenai pointed out. Why would you think we should bring back a potential danger into the village? Why would we need the dinosaur alive in order to understand it? How can we be sure that this dinosaur will not attack the first thing it sees? Kurenai asked. I know I'm sounding way out of line here, but I just want to consider every possible outcome. If we bring it back killed, we won't know what it can do, its behavior patterns. And it is only a danger if it is in the wrong hands. Kohaku explained. Believe me when I say the Kaseki clan is able to keep the Dilophosaurus in check. Killing it will only make things more blurry. Okay. Lastly, finding Uchiha Itachi. Kurenai pointed out. I still do not see how we can trust him at all. Are we really supposed to go out of our way to bring an S-rank missing nin whom I've fought against? Someone who wiped his entire clan. Granted it's under orders, but what if Itachi is a true rogue now? What if he had truly abandoned Konoha and is really with the Akatsuki? Are we really going to seek out a group of criminals that could potentially kill us all in one swoop? To me this looks like suicide. She caught her breath. She then continued. Okay, trying to stop these criminal gangs that are lurking around I can get. But trying to bring back someone we cannot trust at all. I'm drawing the line there. Kurenai said firmly. All right. Kohaku stepped up. If you have a better idea in combating Danzo and his entire Anbu force, if you have a better plan to stop someone who has the Sharingan, and more than one mind you, if you know someone who can defeat Danzo without any severe losses. Kohaku paused. Please, share. Kurenai couldn't really answer that. Look, if you are afraid of facing Itachi, fine, okay. Kohaku said, trying to ease the tension. You don't have to do anything regarding him, all right. I'll deal with him alone if I have to. Okay, first off, I'm not afraid of him. Second, you honestly think you can fight him on alone? Kurenai said. Who said anything about fighting? Just find him, talk to him, and that's it. Hey, seriously, you guys stop it. Yugao stepped in between the two. What is with you, Kurenai? She turned to Kurenai. The genjutsu am I? Stress was silent for a moment before she said. All right, okay, I'll try to trust you, Kohaku. We'll stick to the mission, but if I think that it's time to pull the plug I will. Kohaku said understandingly. Well, I guess that's kind of expected of you since you don't know me. Kurenai saw this and nodded. However, Kohaku then made a deceptive smile. Although regarding trust, well, I guess it's a TTLE ironic someone like you would say such things. Kurenai frowned. What the hell you saying? Now she was getting defensive, shoving authority on him. What do you know of me? Kohaku removed his eye patch to add more of his presence. I know you graduated from the academy at the age of 9, You were on a genin team with Asuma and Namiyashi Rado. You've failed the Chunin exams once but then got promoted at 13. You've only become a Junin recently. You've completed 697 missions. 152 D rank, 158 C rank, 235 B rank, 138 A rank, and 14 S rank. Kohaku narrowed his eyes and leaned forward. But if you to talk about trust, why don't we ask Kurama Yakumo? Kurenai's eyes widened, her jaw slowly dropped, her hands at her sides shook discreetly. She then gritted her teeth. How do I know about your secret of sealing the Kurama clan heiress's powers under orders because of Yakumo's subconscious beast, instead of supporting her and putting your trust in her with the truth and to do the right thing and conquer said subconscious? Kohaku interrupted her. That's my secret. Both Yugao and Tayuya stood there utterly confused as Kohaku's stoic expression faced Kurenai's shocked look. Kurenai was about to say her piece but Kohaku said, look, we're not enemies. The only thing I can do is hope that you know what you're doing with Kurama Yakumo's case. And with this mission, all I ask from you is trust. Despite the questionable choices as you say. He had a sincere face this time. Kohaku-san, Kurenai. Yugao stepped in again. With both hands on their shoulders she made some distance between them. Stop it. This isn't productive and it's senseless. I'm just making sure every concern is addressed. Kurenai said. And now that's out of the way. Kohaku dragged the sentence. Come on, let's go already. You two have been wasting time bitching back and forth at each other. Tayuya rudely said. Kurenai's eyes were still on the kaseki, but Kohaku kept up his sincere expression. All right, I'm sorry about earlier. I just needed to address my thoughts. It's fine, really it's okay. Let's go, Kohaku replied. Yugao and Tayuya took off into the tress. But before Kohaku followed, Kurenai called him. And regarding Yakumo Kohaku, however you want to handle Yakumo's issue that's on you. Kohaku said before leaping off into the trees to join Yugao's side. Kohaku-s. The difference between him and Kurenai. Unlike how Yuhi Kurenai had to deal with Kurama Yakumo, Kaseki Kohaku did not hide anything from Uzumaki Naruto. If there was anything concerning Naruto, he would tell Naruto the truth and trust him with it. All four traversing through the trees eventually reached the town, and the orange set was soon disappearing. Buildings did not really differ too much from Tanzaku town, having casinos, hot springs and inns around. Tayuya then pointed at a building at a corner. We staying in that? An inn, with the small decent-sized lobby with the receptionist W.H. Own was a woman in the middle with a table. Tayuya, Yugao and Kurenai went in, with Kohaku slacking at the back. They entered in with Kurenai taking the lead going to the receptionist. Kohaku, however, was really unimpressed by the atmosphere this inn giving, or rather the lack of it. This budget inn was not suiting well for him. I'm sorry, the receptionist said, but this inn is for women only. For women only, Yugao clarified and the receptionist nodded. Kohaku let out a muffled scoff. Oh thank goodness, I'd rather stay in a graveyard. Kohaku thought. He did not waste any time, and turned around. Well, I'm out of here, he said as he exited the inn. What? Hey whoa, then what's your idea then? Tayuya went up to him outside the inn followed by Yugao and Kurenai. Stay somewhere better obviously, Kohaku said, out of the receptionist hearing. You'll find better comfort in a hospital. Kohaku walked further in the town. He was very particular in the place he'd stay in. The Kaseki then found it, a hotel. Stories tall, and a luxury and prestigious feel to it, thus appearing incredibly expensive. Seeing Kohaku entering, Tayuya called to him. Whoa, the hell, here, yes, here, Kohaku nonchalantly answered, entering inside. Kurenai and Tayuya had looks of doubts. Come on, what are you waiting for? Let's go, Yugao told them, catching up with Kohaku. She then asked Kohaku quietly. Okay, seriously, how are we going to pay for this? You won't have to, Kohaku answered, catching on. Yugao nudging him on the elbow then said, right. Rich kid here. I'm not rich, Kohaku replied with a stoic face. Entering inside, the floor was marble with marble pillars and leather sofas. With a koi ponds on both ends of the lobby. Seeing the restaurant inside, Tayuya had never seen such luxury before. Shit, they even have a teppanyaki restaurant. The four got to the receptionist, requesting for adjacent rooms available. However, no adjacent rooms were available, the only thing coming close were two separate rooms on the same floor. Well, what do you all think? Kohaku asked them. What, you get one room, while we three girls share another room or something? Chiyuya had her hands on her hips. I'll stay with him, Yugao said, surprising them. Yugao, really? Kurenai questioned her. Yeah, sure, Yugao said. Won't be the first time I've shared a hotel room with Kohaku-san. She made a small smile. Hope you've enjoyed this chapter. Hope to see you in the next one. Team 8 upgrade. Hey dear readers, been too long dear Naruto Jurassic Park fans. No, I'm not dead, Ju. Saint admittedly been focusing on my other stories apart from this one, but I'm back with a new chapter. So hyped for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Please enjoy and review. Chapter 4. Team 8 upgrade. Before the Yugao, Kurenai, Chiyuya and Kohaku were finding a place to spend the night, Kaseki Kichiro and his new genin team ran to a confinement enclosure with the scroll in his hand. What are we dealing here with sensei? Hiba asked as they stopped at the enclosure. The enclosure was a rather small one, enclosed walls everywhere with only door and a small window to see what's inside, which was just dirt and grass. A Dilophosaurus, as Kohaku said, but he also said that something's wrong with it. Kichiro answered. Step back guys. He got them to stand behind a safe distance and he entered the enclosure. He threw the scroll and it unrolled itself. He quickly got back out of the enclosure as a puff of smoke appeared above the scroll. And out came the Dilophosaurus, snarling and hissing. Hinata and Kiba gasped. Shino kept his composure. Seeing a carnivorous dinosaur. That's a Dilophosaurus Kichiro-sensei. Hinata asked him. Apparently. But something is wrong with it. Kichiro said with pensive eyes. What is it? She asked. 1. Unless this is a juvenile, the animal's adult is supposed to be bigger. Kichiro explained. And something around his neck. That frill. Seeing the Nin team and the Junin on the other side of the window, the Dilophosaurus made a loud snarl. His frill shot up with rattling sound. He roared at them once more, before spitting a black ball of toxin. With a yelp, the genin team got down. But Kichiro did not even flinch and stood there with arms crossed. The toxic split splattered on the glass of the window. That thing is crazy, Kiba exclaimed. His voice got drowned by the dinosaur's snarls. The Dilophosaurus got its eyes fixed on the Kaseki now, baring his teeth at him. Oi! Kichiro stared the Dilophosaurus down, working his brain. Enough, he sternly said to the Dilophosaurus, and he made his snarl as well, getting through the dinosaur with mental contact. This got the Dilophosaurus to cease its aggression. With a submissive hiss, the dinosaur lowered his head and backed away. What did you do, sensei? Kiba asked, with Akamaru hiding in his jacket. I believe he told the dinosaur to stand down. Shino answered calmly. Sensei, Hinata asked. Come on, let's get out of here. This guy will stay here for the time being. Kichiro turned to his genin and led them away from the enclosure. They gathered back on the path inside the carnivore side of the compound. Are we going to see another carnivore, sensei? Kiba asked. Not yet, now I want to assess you guys a little bit. Kichiro announced, taking out 3 small pieces of papers. All right, hatchlings, Kichiro said to them. Each of guys hold a piece of paper in your hands. The genin did as they were told, each holding a piece in their hand. What is this for, sensei? Kiba asked, holding the paper. I want to know what your chakra affinities are, Kichiro said, taking his own piece of paper from his weapon pouch. You put your chakra in this paper, it will tell us what element your chakra leans to. Like mine is water. The paper in Kichiru's hand turned wet on one corner, but in the other corner it burned. Although I did train to use fire through the years. Okay, now you try. Each genin looked at their sensei in curiosity, then tried out their papers. Hinata's paper wrinkled, while Kiba and Shino's paper turned to dirt crumble, causing the 2 males genins to drop their paper in surprise. Well, Hinata's lightning, Kiba and Shino, earth. Kichiro made a small grin at the corner of his mouth. Whoa, Hinata is lightning, cool. Kiba complimented, and Hinata squirmed a little. What do you intend to do with this knowledge, sensei? Shino asked Kichiro. Kichiro pondered for a second. We're having a bit of a change of plans. I want you guys to see these elemental jutsus firsthand. You're going to help us in elemental jutsus? Kiba asked. Why can't we get better at our clan jutsus instead? Good question, Kichiro said. Hinata. Why yes Kichiro-sensei. Hinata stood at attention. You need to fight an enemy shinobi. And you cannot use the Byakugan because the nerves around your eyes got damaged. Then what? Kichiro asked. Hinata couldn't answer. Kiba. You need to fight but Akamaru is not with you. Then what? The Kaseki asked the Inuzuka. Akamaru is always with me. Kiba countered and Akamaru barked. I didn't ask if Akamaru will always be with you. I asked what you're going to do when Akamaru is not with you. Kichiro said and Kiba fell silent. Shino. Kichiro said to the Aburame. What happens when our enemy has the tools to disable your insects? Like for example, pesticide, or an animal that feasts on insects. The moment Kichiro said that, Hinata felt something perching on her shoulder, with she turned to see another carnivore chirping and purring, being so up close to her face. A Compsognathus stood on her shoulder, snapping its jaws shut at a buzzing fly. Sensei. Hinata asked Kichiro. Relax, he's not going to do anything. That's a Compsognathus, an insect eater. Kichiro explained. You guys know where I'm getting at here. You want us to be more versatile. Shino said. Uhu. Like I said before, an over-reliance of your clan techniques is fine I guess. But what happens when you can't use your clan techniques? This is why I want you guys to learn something that is not associated with your clan. Kichiro said. The Compy was still resting on Hinata's shoulder. So let's focus on another direction should you need to do so when you are out there on a mission. What do you say? Kichiro offered. Alright, let's do this, Kiba said with some enthusiasm. Why yes Kichiro-sensei. Hinata agreed. She was starting to get a little comfortable with the dinosaur on her shoulder. Where do we start? Shino asked. We'll start with Hinata, Kichiro answered, because the place where we will be using for Hinata's case is closest here. Come on, let's go. Kichiro went further into the carnivore section with the genins following, with the Compy still on Hinata's shoulder. They stood before the door of another enclosure. The genins have no idea who or what is inside it. Kichiro turned to Hinata. Alright now what are you still doing here? He pointed at Hinata's shoulder. The Compy would not leave her. Go back with the rest. Kichiro told the Compy, but the dinosaur only climbed onto Hinata's head, sitting comfortably on her hair, leaving the girl confused as to what to do. Come on you little runt, beat it, stop trying to scare her. Kichiro said a little more firmly this time, which the Compy complied, leaping off her head and returning to the bird cage. Okay, now then. Kichiro opened the enclosure door. Hinata, get in there. I want you to know what it is like to be on the receiving end on a lightning-based attack. Don't worry, I'll be here, you won't get harmed. Get in. What sensei? Hinata nervously asked. What is inside? Your lesson. Get in there. Kichiro repeated himself. Hey whoa, is this a good idea? What's in there? This is a little too fast for a lesson isn't it? Kiba pointed out. You'll be fine, just get in there. Come on, trust me, Kichiro prompted her, getting a little impatient. Hinata stood at the door enclosure. All she could see inside was dense vegetation before her. She was still reluctant. Kichiro now had a really unamused expression on his face, getting annoyed by Hinata's hesitation. Kurenai may think that the nurturing and encouraging approach is best, but his patience, or rather the lack of it, is telling him to go for another, hastier approach for Hinata. He let out a groaning sigh. He grabbed Hinata's hood of her jacket, lifting her up off her feet with her letting out a squeaky yelp. Hinata, kiddo, little hatchling, Kichiro said to her deceptively sweetly. Hi, she asked, dangling in the air with Kichiro holding onto her jacket. When I tell you to get in there, I mean you get in. There. Kichiro raised his voice right at her and tossed her inside the enclosure. She yelped as got thrown inside. She managed to land on her feet, turning her head to see her sensei gesturing to go in further. She nervously went further in the enclosure, her fingers fidgeting together unsure what to do. Kichiro stayed at the door entrance waiting for her. The sound of leaves rustling got her to gasp as she turned her head to the direction of the sound. And out of a bush, she appeared. standing on two clawed feet and clawed hands with yellow feathered arms, on the body and the tail. Satomi the talking Truden. Satomi bared her teeth at the Hyuga. So, Hyuga. Satomi made a deceptive hiss as she talked, surprising Hinata that she can actually talk. Kichiro wants you to see what lightning jutsus is like. Satomi the Truden got her hands in a snake seal. Lightning started to generate in Satomi's jaws, spreading around the Truden. Start praying. Pray. This training is underway. Raiden. Raiga. Hinata braced herself, getting herself into her stance and readied herself in her training. Back with Yugao, Kurenai, Tayuya and Kohaku in the night. They've reached the floor of their rooms. Tayuya and Kurenai got into their room, leaving Yugao and Kohaku to head for their room, further at the end of the corridor. Kohaku unlocked the door. Yugao entered first. Well, this is definitely looking more comfortable than what my Anbu mission nights are usually like, Yugao said, taking the luxurious interior of the room. Two large beds on one side, a comfy sofa on the other with a coffee table and a large window on the opposite with a balcony. Maybe I'll see what an Anbu mission night will be like soon, Kohaku said, heading to the window, taking the eye patch off his head. Still taking used to this eye patch, and I'm standing out too much with this. Kohaku-san, Yugao said, I'm going to take a shower first. She took a sealing scroll from her pouch, storing her toiletries and clothes. She went inside the bathroom, locking the door. Kohaku let out a soft sigh as he plopped down on the sofa, tossing the eye patch on one bed. Having a Sharingan may seem fine and dandy, but having the need to wear an eye patch all the time, not so much. Something about having a dojutsu made Kohaku remember his time in Kurigakure when he was young, his old home. Kaseki Choden told him about a ninja he knew in Kurigakure, Ao. After the Third Shinobi War, Ao obtained the Byakugan for his right eye, and he was able to deactivate it according to Choden. Kakashi and Danzo apparently could not do so, but no one knows for sure if either of them had even tried to turn it off. Also, while Kakashi had his Sharingan with the aid of Nohara Rin, Kohik, Yu had his Sharingan planted with the aid of the greatest medical ninja herself, Senju Tsunade. Kohaku sat on the sofa crossed-legged. He got his left hand into a half-ram seal, feeling the flow of chakra through him. He focused the chakra in his head and closed his eyes, getting the chakra in the eyes, or at least trying to. I reach the chakra in my head, to the eyes, well now what? He felt the chakra in his left eye socket. The chakra in Uchiha Makoto's Sharingan. He kept his mind on turning the Sharingan off as he kept focusing in his meditation. Come on. This can be done. A ninja in Kiri has done it, Kohaku said. He kept working on the chakra in Makoto's Sharingan. Kohaku-san. He heard Yugao's voice. She had finished her shower. The scent of lavender shampoo went to his nose. He said, his eyes still closed and focused. What are you doing? She asked. Oh, I'm trying to turn off the Sharingan if I can, he truthfully told her, his eyes still closed. Yugao raised an eyebrow. I thought you can't. Hokage-sama said that according as much as she knows, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. Kohaku still had his half-ram seal up. After a moment he sighed and opened his eyes. Guess I'll have to try again another time. Both of them looked at each in confusion. However, Kohaku was looking at Yugao, seeing her with a towel on her head. She was wearing a magenta sleeveless shirt and a black pair of shorts. He had never seen her in these type of clothes before. His jaws dropped a little bit. Yugao was looking at Kohaku, staring into his eyes with his bangs hanging low. She stared into his eyes. His right eye, the natural dark brown eye he was born with. His left eye, the eye of Uchiha Makoto, an onyx eye. Why you? They said in unison. Hey, you first. Kohaku said. Your eye. Surprised, Yugao pointed at the left side of his face, at the onyx eye. The Sharingan, it's gone. What? Kohaku tilted his head. Now he was finally noticing his vision was normal. Your Sharingan, it's gone. Yugao said again. Go see in the mirror. Kohaku got up from the sofa, and went to look in the mirror on the wall, finally looking at his face. It looked like heterochromia iridium. One eye onyx and the other dark brown. What the hell? Kohaku whispered to himself, but immediately after the onyx eye was gone was the red-eyed Sharingan came back again. Damn it, it's back. Yugao stepped up to him. How did you do it? I don't know, Kohaku said, and got his hands in a ram seal. He focused his chakra around his head again, but the Sharingan remained. Damn it, need to figure it out again. He turned to her and said, well, either way it's not important now. Taking his own scroll, he went into the bathroom. After he was done with the bathroom, he came out in a red t-shirt and a pair of light blue shorts. Yugao was already prepping her bed. Long day. Tomorrow we meet up with Kurenai and Tayuya for breakfast, Yugao said as she stretched her arms and buried herself under the blanket. Yeah, then the bounty station, Kohaku said as he went to his bed. Or if we have another lead on those crime syndicate people, we'll think of something in the morning, Yugao said with a dainty yawn. Kohaku turned off the light and got into his bed. Night, Kohaku softly said. Night, Kohaku, Yugao sleepily said. Kohaku buried himself in the blanket and closed his eyes, taking the amber necklace off him and slept. Morning arrived. The team assembled at the lobby, looking fresh and recuperated. Where are we going for breakfast? Tayuya asked. There's a tea house down the edge of town, Kurenai said, suggesting breakfast there. Oh, and not the teppanyaki here, Tayuya suggested. Yeah, an expensive breakfast on an S-rank mission, Kurenai sarcastically said. Who's going to pay? Yugao. Kurenai and Tayuya all had their heads turned to Kohaku, who had his eye patch on. The Kaseki narrowed his eye and his mouth formed a frown. Don't think that my patronage is a recurring thing, he flatly said. Besides, teppanyaki for breakfast. You kidding? Yugao chuckled. Hey, well, tea house then. We could use some fresh air. Get some sun. They left the hotel and headed down the street. In the tea house, they sat at a table, each having a cup of green tea. Shortly the waitress came with their orders. 4 toast sets. Thank you, Yugao said. So much further is the bounty station? Kurenai asked them. I'd give it about an hour away, probably more. Yugao guessed, taking a piece of toast. Where are we going to start with this Ingen company? Oh, or whatever that gang war shit that's happening, Tayuya asked after sipping her tea. What the hell do we know about it? Well, let's look at what we know, Kohaku said, putting his detective mind to work. We know that those bombers must be working for Ingen, with matching attire and appearance. Tayuya also mentioned that the first bomber belonged to a gang, and when you have identical appearance, belonging to a gang and claim to work for this company called Ingen, there's a link, Kurenai concluded, and throw in dinosaurs into the mix. You think this Ingen is behind these dinosaur attacks? Yugao pushed this investigation. Maybe, maybe not. We don't know, Kohaku said. Tayuya, let me have the dinosaur guidebook. The redhead passed the book back and he turned the pages to the Allosaurus pages. First dinosaur spotted was the Allosaurus pack in Konoha. Kohaku turned the pages again to the Dilophosaurus page. Then a Dilophosaurus pack that was supposed to hit the town from before. And the other animals we've seen way back, before the whole mission started, Yugao added. So then what's all this connected with? Tayuya asked, trying to keep up with the discussion. I have a theory, Kohaku voiced out. Let's hear it, Kurenai said. Picture it. Gato died from a sea predator attack, and with Naruto's help we've destroyed those animals, those sea predators. Then though, say crocodiles attacked with a mob boss in the vicinity, just like those. We've killed those predators every time they've attacked us, Kohaku explained. You think the dinosaur attacks are due to the gang feud around, with Ingen involved with it? Yugao said. Then what about the Allosaurus attack in the village? Could be, like a warning. Think about it, we've stopped every single one of these attacks. Whoever is in charge of them is clearly pissed that we're interfering with his or her business. Kohaku gave his deduction. So, gang war and dinosaur attacks. This Ingen is definitely in on this shit, Tayuya said. Then where do we go from this information? Yugao asked. Yeah, I've thought about that. I thinking we've been searching the wrong way, Kohaku said. What do you mean? Instead of following some cigarette trail, we start right from the top. Gato's transport. Why that? With the Gato dead, someone is definitely going to try take over the company, and with it, the crime syndicate. Gato's company has always been the top in this. We stop that, we might be able to put the hurt on this gang war big time. Kohaku suggested. The tea house had received another group of customers. A group of men in suits had taken their seats and shortly after their orders came. Kohaku. Kurenai spoke. Ingen is having these dinosaurs, that's the possibility. Yeah, Kohaku agreed. How are they dealing with these dinosaurs? Kurenai asked. What do you mean? What kind of people we know that is associated to dinosaurs? Kurenai threw the question at them. They all had dropped jaws realizing what she meant. Kaseki. Kohaku whispered. Thank you for reading and reviewing. Just got to ask though, who's your fav Kaseki XD? Hope you've enjoyed this chapter. Hope to see you in the next one. Field Interrogator. Jurassic Shippuden Prologue. Chapter 5. Field Interrogator. You think a Kaseki is behind this? Kohaku asked Kurenai, bothered by that suggestion. It makes sense, doesn't it? Kurenai ran a hand through her hair. If there is one kind of person capable of controlling dinosaurs, it's a Kaseki. Kohaku drew a long breath through nose, taking in the idea that a kinsman responsible for attacking Konoha. However, the idea that any other Kaseki was still alive was not sitting well with him. There's no one left, Kurenai. Kohaku said. Can you confirm that? Kurenai asked. You're asking if a 5-year-old me had searched for any others while I was on my own out there trying to find my family whilst I was trying to escape from the 4th Mizukage. No, that's not what I'm asking. I'm just saying if we can't confirm that there is really no other Kaseki left. We cannot rule out that possibility that a Kaseki is behind this, can we? Especially with dinosaurs being controlled. Kurenai asked him, in a manner almost leading him to make him agree with her. No, we can't, but it does not add up in other things. Kohaku said. How so? Kurenai asked. Yugao and Tayuya watched the two go back and forth. If someone else was still alive, why wouldn't that person come to Konoha? The Kaseki said. And why would that person be doing all this crap? Guess we'll find and ask the one responsible. Kurenai leaned back on her seat. Yugao then said, I think first we should contact Itachi. What? Tayuya turned to her. Why? We already have a proper lead, don't we? The Fire Country's bounty station. And maybe Itachi might know something about what we're dealing with. Kohaku, while listening to Yugao, was eyeing the groups of men in suits in the tea house. They've finished their breakfast, paid their bills and left the tea house, and the men had zero conversation between them while having their toasts. You're thinking he can help? Kurenai asked Yugao skeptically. It's the only lead confirmed by another source instead of theories we're coming up with. Plus the bounty station, Yugao said. All right, Kurenai agreed. Hold on. Kohaku alerted quietly. Those guys, keep an eye on them. Kohaku watched the men in suits leaving the tea house. He whispered to the team, I don't know, just a bad feeling about them. Come on, let's go, Yugao said, keeping aware of those people Kohaku pointed out. The 4 of them left the tea house, leaving the town and taking to the trees. They all leapt through the trees in the woods, heading for the Fire Country bounty station. Through the woods, however, Kurenai spotted something speeding through right at them. Watch out! They all leapt away, dodging the volley of shurikens and kunais thrown at them. Kohaku and Tayuya hid on a branch taking cover. Yugao with her sword deflected any shuriken coming at her. Kurenai hid behind the base of a tree. Shit, Tayuya asked, taking out her flute. Guess those guys in suits are onto us. Maybe, Kohaku said, taking off his eye patch. He peeked out of his cover to see the attackers. And there they were. The attackers were the group of men in suits, all 4 of them. And with them were 3 kunoichis. Dressed in shinobi attires, in a black bodysuit with fingerless gloves and Anbu armor, and they were wearing any village headband. I think we got rogue nins on our tails. The guys in the tea house must have been scouts. Kohaku, pulling his head back as a kunai went past him. He took out a scroll and out popped his bow staff, strapping the staff behind his back and went through his hand signs. Ninpo. Raputaru Aishi no Jutsu. Chakra surged around his legs, transforming his legs into raptor legs. Yugao planting her foot on a tree trunk, pushing off the trunk, she flew towards Kohaku. Grabbing the branch, she swung up and stood on the tree trunk above Kohaku. She threw smoke bomb across the tree line, a smoke screen across the area. Kohaku got into a crouch. I'm going to draw their attention. You guys come in from side. Okay. Kohaku said to them. Yugao nodded. With his raptor feet, he made a big leap forward, surprising the men with his speed through the smoke. Kohaku's raptor foot smashed into the first man's face, while using his bow staff to strike the second man in the side of the head. Both of them got knocked out bad from Kohaku's attacks. The third and fourth men charged in straight for Kohaku, wielding kunais in each hand. Letting out a raptor snarl, Kohaku leapt up high into the air, using his bow staff to block off the incoming kunais thrown by the men. Coming down fast, he pounced on one of them hard, one toe claw piercing into the man's chest. Swinging his raptor leg back, Kohaku threw the man crashing into the last male enemy. Man, this Sharingan is something, Kohaku thought. The remaining kunoichis were weaving hand signs together. Kohaku watched the signs. It ended with Tora, indicating a fire jutsu underway. Karura. The THREE simultaneously spewed a large stream of fire. Kohaku watched the fire closing in on him with his Sharingan. He quickly weaved his own hand signs. Sweden. Sujin Heki. He created his wall of water, and the fire crashed into it. The impact from the fire was forcing him back down to the ground. Both jutsus rescinded and Kohaku landed sloppily on the dirt. Kohaku let out a purring growl seeing the three kunoichi on the treetops. They were preparing for another attack, but the sound of a flute caused one of them to be paralyzed. Kohaku looked above him. Yugao was speeding over him, engaging in a sword fight with the middle kunoichi. The last kunoichi was about to charge in, but suddenly she collapsed onto the floor. Kurenai stepped out of the brush, holding her target in a genjutsu. Yugao Fi nished off the last enemy with a boot to the gut followed by a slash to the chest, putting her out. Well, guess that settles it, Kohaku said as his legs turned back to normal. Who the hell are these people? Chiyuya putting her flute away. Yugao with sword went up the trees, to finish off the men while Kurenai got the kunoichis tied up. Kohaku watched Yugao getting up to dispatch the any survivors. While he understood why they had to do this, it did not make it any easier. Especially when he'd seen kinsmen and dinosaurs losing their lives at such a young age. Wake up. Kurenai tapped the foe. Rehead on the kunoichi she intended to interrogate. The kunoichi murmured and opened her eyes. Seeing she was bounded up and all four people were staring at her, she knew scowled and kept her mouth shut. All right, who sent you? Kurenai demanded an answer. The kunoichi spat at her. The slobber hit the ground. Kurenai's eyes narrowed and went through a few hand seals. She created a genjutsu and in he enemy kunoichi's view a tree grew from behind her, branch stretched out and wrapped around her and constricted her. The kunoichi grunted as she got tightened up in the branches, but would not give in. You're not going to kill me. You'd lose. She smirked at Kurenai. You're going to lose your breathing if you don't talk. Kurenai said and branches constricted her a little more. The kunoichi grunted as the interrogation continued. Behind Kurenai, Kohaku, Yugao and Chiyuya watched her doing her work. You lose, Konoha. The kunoichi choked out, still not giving in. This is taking too long, Kohaku thought. He stepped up to stand beside Kurenai. He asked, mind if I take over? She turned her head to him. All right. Kurenai kept up the genjutsu. Kohaku was weaving through another set of hand signs, ending it with dragon. Ninpo. Sapino Ude no Jutsu. Chakra covered Kohaku's arms, neck and mouth. His Spinosaurus arms grew, claws sharp as always. His teeth turned conical, the skin on. His arms and mouth turned to a scaly blue. He let out a low growl, grabbed the kunoichi's head and lifted her up off the floor, breaking the genjutsu. Kohaku holding the kunoichi by her head jumped up high to a tree trunk. With chakra in his feet he stood on the trunk and held out the kunoichi. Kunoichi had to stare Kohaku's face, a hybrid of human and Spinosaurus. Breathing in deep, Kohaku unleashed. Head a loud deafening roar right at her face, her vision shook violently. She got disoriented so badly. Kurenai, Chiyuya and Yugao watched Kohaku roaring. Shit, that's loud, Chiyuya said, unsettled by the sound. Kohaku took out his raptor claw knife. His grip on her head loosened till he was holding her by her hair. Arg. Ah, what the F? She hissed in pain. Every 5 seconds you don't give me a name, you lose hair. Kohaku said, and just as 5 seconds passed he cut the kunoichi's hair with his knife. Threads of hair fell below, reaching down to the 3 other Konoha shinobis below. My kunoichi was expectedly ticked off beyond belief. You fucking bastard. When I get out of this, I'm going to K. Her threat went unfinished as Kohaku cut off more bits of her hair. What the fuck? What is wrong with you? You're going to die, you fool. Her hair got cut again. Shit. Stop. Okay. It's this company Ingen. She gave in, frightened by her hair loss. Kohaku snarled. Keep going, unless you want another haircut. Some lady paid us to find you two targets in the bingo book. We were in the land of water when she came to us, hired us to put you guys down. The kunoichi confessed. A name. Kohaku growled behind his teeth. He grabbed her by the neck. All she told us was, Kaseki. The kunoichi spilled the beans. Kurenai, Yugao and Tayuya heard the name. Kurenai's theory was supported. Kohaku roared at her again. You're lying. That's her name, I swear. I swear. The kunoichi said. If I find out you're lying, you'll wake up bald. Kohaku head-butted her in the face, knocking her out. Wrapping wire around her legs, Kohaku wrapped the other end of the wire around a tree branch and left the kunoichi ensnared up in the tree. Kohaku let out another roar. Hearing the name, Kaseki, from an assassin was just too much for him. He let go of his grip on the tree, landing back on the ground, joining the rest of the team. He snarled like a Spinosaurus. The other team members suddenly felt their hair were in grave danger. Goddamn, you're insane. You don't fucking cut a girl's hair. Tayuya confronted him. She's an enemy kunoichi. I react accordingly, Kohaku said. Plus we got our info. Quote, you better not be touching my hair. Whatever. Kohaku ignored her. We've got to hurry now. We got to get to the bounty station. Kaseki. Kurenai said. You were right. Yugao added. And in Kurigakure. I'm sorry, Kohaku. Kurenai sincerely said to the present Kaseki. They heard Kohaku's soft purring growl, the same one they've heard from a raptor. Kohaku-san. Yugao placed her hand on his shoulder. We should deal with the bounty station first. It's closer. Kohaku put the eye patch back on. Let's go. Kurenai said and took to the trees, with Tayuya following. Kohaku had not moved yet, leading Yugao to step in front of him. Hey, you okay? Yugao asked. Kohaku breathed in deep. Yeah. Got to focus right. Need to find Itachi. Come on, let's go. Together they caught with Kurenai and Tayuya. The 4 continued to leap through the trees. About 15 minutes had passed. The number of trees were thinning out. A pathway with a short building was in sight. The Land of Fire bounty station. The team were all perched on a tree branch. Well, now we're here. We need to get to Zenge. Yugao said. How do you plan on doing that? Tayuya asked. I have an idea, but I doubt you all will like it. Kohaku said. Kurenai moved towards him. I hope you really know what you're doing. We're on the bingo book, aren't we? Kohaku reminded them. Why? Yugao asked. We can get in. By you two selling us out. And you two can ask Zenge about Kakuzu. Kohaku pointed at Tayuya and Kurenai. The doors of the bounty station opened, and Tayuya and Kurenai stepped into the building. I'm here for a bounty. Hello. Tayuya called out, seeing as there was no one around at the counter. Footsteps approached the counter from a door behind it, and out came a middle-aged man. He was bald with thick eyebrows and a beard. He had a scar above his right eyebrow. Welcome. My name is Zenge. The man greeted them. What do you want, huh? Yeah. Tayuya composed herself. Me and my partner. She pointed at Kurenai. Are here to drop off a couple of deadweight bounties. Said deadweight bounties were Kohaku and Yugao being carried on Kurenai and Tayuya's backs respectively, apparently dead. Ah, those two look familiar. Konoha shinobis, huh? Wow, how you'd manage to waste those two? Zenge asked, looking pleasantly surprised by the two dead people. Fucking rogue chumps thought we were small shits, they thought wrong. Tayuya crudely answered, now come on, where's money? All right, this way. Zenge gestured them to follow him behind the counter. Tayuya slung Yugao over her properly before carrying. Both followed Zenge through a short corridor before heading down the stairs, and they entered a morgue, placing the two bounties on the table on the center of the morgue. Well, I guess payments due. 2 dead Konoha shinobis, 50,000 ryo. Zenge said, fetching the money from the office table in the room. Chiyuya and Kurenai Fita, Yugao and Kohaku into the body bag and they were placed into the morgue chambers. Well, here's the money. Zange handed Kurenai the case of cash. That's it then. Hey, as long as we're here, we hope you could do us a favor. Kurenai spoke up. What? Zange asked. We would like to get in touch with a person named Kakuzu. Chiyuya said. Hearing that, his eyes narrowed in suspicion. I don't know who that is. He lied. Come on. No need to hide. Word going around says that you two do business together. We'd like to do business with him. Chiyuya played the crooked act. What business exactly? Zange questioned them further. That's between us and him. Come on, you going to do this or what? Chiyuya stepped up in front of him. Without Zange noticing, Kurenai increased the pressure of her genjutsu on him. Zange shook off the giddiness in his head a bit. Want me to help you get in touch with Kakuzu, is that right? Make it worth my while. Well, Chiyuya tried thinking of a way to sweeten the deal. 20%. Kurenai spontaneously said, you can keep 20% of the bounty these two are worth. She pointed at the dead Yugao and Kohaku stuffed in the morgue chambers. Do we have an agreement? She opened the case money and held out 10,000 ryo. Who's stupid enough to give that much just to find someone? Zange crossed his arms. You don't want it? Then fuck it, we're keeping the money. Chiyuya took the 10,000 off Kurenai's hand. Whoa, hang on. Alright, done. Wait here then, I'll see when he's scheduled to deliver another bounty. Zange stopped them and went back up. Exiting the morgue. Alright, coast is clear, Kurenai said. Chiyuya opened the morgue chambers storing Yugao and Kohaku. The Kaseki instantly leapt out. He whispered harshly. 20%. That's our money, damn it. Kurenai just shrugged. It worked, didn't it? Kohaku's hand slapped his forehead and groaned. You don't start at 20%. You haggle the rice until he gets satisfied with a smaller percentage, not 20. Relax, Kohaku, it worked, Kurenai said. Genjutsu is still affecting Zange. He won't be seeing you or Yugao. The sound of footsteps were coming back. And Zange was returning. Well, you two ladies are in luck. Zange said. He should be coming in an hour. He's supposed to be scheduled to deliver an Iwachunin. None of them were expecting him to come so fast already. They all had stupefied eyes. Now the 10,000. Zange said. Chiyuya counted 5,000 and handed it to him. Half now, half when he gets here. And now it was a waiting game. The team was waiting on an S-rank criminal whom they have no idea whether he will comply or not, but they were not left with much choice in finding Uchiha Itachi. The end. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.